that audio on Mary Poppins.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gettin Cheezy with Van Jeezy. I'm Van.
And I am Jeezy.
Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of the regular season.
That's fudging right. So we're brand new noobs all over again.
That's right. This is like season 1.5.
Welcome to season... Is this like the Lion King 1.5? Did you see that?
No, I did not. I mean, maybe when I was a kid. Is that an older thing?
It is an older thing.
Yeah, I probably saw it when I was a kid.
I have to say that I liked it.
The Lion King 1.5.
Yes, 1.5.
Okay, I want to give a quick rundown of the games, right? Scores of the games. All right, also, this is a trial run, basically, because we don't know how we're actually going to handle the in-season format. So here we go. The finals of the games that took place thus far. We're recording early Monday night, so we don't have the two Monday night games yet. But starting on Thursday, Packers over the Bears, 10-3. We had, after that, Eagles 32, Redskins 2017, Bills 17, Jets 16, Vikings 28, Falcons 12, Ravens 59, Dolphins 10.
Ass whooping.
Chiefs 40, Jaguars 26, Titans 43, Browns 13.
Ass whooping.
Rams 30, Panthers 27, Seahawks 21, Bengals 20, Chargers 30, Colts 24, 49ers 31, Buccaneers 17, Cowboys 35, Giants 17, the Cardinals and Lions tied at 27,
Gasp.
and Patriots 33, Steelers 3.
That was a fudging annihilation.
Boo. Hi, everyone. This is my 3-year-old nephew, Charlie. Charlie, can you say hi?
Hi.
Charlie is
Hi,
visiting.
Charlie.
Charlie is visiting this week, so if anybody hears any funny noises or child noises in the background, that's, yep, like that. Yep, he found me. If anybody hears any child noises in the background, that's what it is. He's jumping on my bed right now, so thanks, Charlie. Yeah, so there's that.
Nice.
So, all right.
At least you got somebody handsome to carry on the family legacy.
I mean, it's not me. I am not the face of this.
That's
this
what I was implying there.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
Sorry about it.
So, of these games, I just want you to quick give me two of them that surprised you the most.
Two that surprised me the most?
The two outcomes that surprised you the most.
First one, and I think maybe the biggest surprise of the day, especially if you were watching, like if you watch the first 70% of the game, I think the outcome that screams out is the Detroit Lions versus the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray comes out, plays like straight up butt. Lions come out, and they play good enough to beat a team that's playing like butt. And they're getting beat up pretty well. All of a sudden, somebody handed the Arizona Cardinals some toilet paper. They cleaned up that butt real fast. And Kyler Murray was looking like he at least belonged in the league. Now, he still looked like he needed some work, but he looked like he at least belonged in the league.
Would you say that he graduated from diapers to pull-ups during that game?
He may have just reached pull-ups. Now, I'm still going to expect him to come tugging on my pants to say, bathroom or potty.
Or in the words of Charlie, I pooped.
Yeah. So that stuff is still going to happen. But I think we saw some sparks of growing up in the league. I mean, what we saw at the beginning was not hopeful. And for them to come out, muster the comeback, and then force that game into overtime, score in overtime, and have it go to a tie, I thought that was very surprising. The other game that I thought was pretty crazy was the Vikings versus Falcons game.
You thought that was crazy?
Well, look, I didn't think that... Here's where this is what I'm going to touch on. Kirk Cousins threw the ball only 10 times. 10 times. He didn't get hurt. He didn't get taken out of the game way early or anything. 10 passes in that whole game. He was literally a handoff machine, pounding the ball. Here's the quote from Kirk Cousins. Throwing it 10 times is really unique. I probably haven't had a game with that few attempts since literally Pop Warner. He's literally saying, I haven't only thrown it 10 times in a game, basically since he was in diapers.
So what you're saying is he's doing a lot to earn that 84 million guaranteed.
I'm just saying it's not very much. It's not very much work. He didn't have very much pressure. Obviously, Delvin Cook, he has 21 carries, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, they put that man to work, and he was putting it out there. Their defense pummeled them. Their run game destroyed them, and their pass game was literally unneeded. And that sets up for a very interesting upcoming week for us here in Green Bay.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing. Let me give you my 2 games. Number 1, Ravens 59 over the Dolphins 10.
That shit was amazing. Did you get to watch any of that game?
I did not because I was actually in a car for 15 hours with my 3.5-year-old nephew and my sister and Miss Van. So I didn't get to watch a lot of ball. But I saw Jackson had 5 passing touchdowns, that 59 points were the most in Ravens history. I saw that Ryan Fitzpatrick made NFL history by becoming the first quarterback to throw a touchdown for 8 different teams. Real quick, he has thrown touchdowns for the Bills, for the Titans, for the Jets, for the Bengals, for the Buccaneers, for the Rams, for the Texans, and for the Dolphins. That's a true journeyman quarterback right there.
I mean, it's strange because I really think he's quite a good quarterback, but he hasn't just been able to be the best forever anywhere.
He's so inconsistent. That's his thing. He's up and down.
That's true. That is true.
But you wanted to go back to Lamar Jackson.
So Lamar Jackson, the thing that I found really interesting about this game in particular is Lamar Jackson, when I think of him, I'm thinking shorter passes, hitting people on the slants or on the outs, the kind of the wheel route coming out of the backfield. He, in this game, was airing it out. He was just a full-on air raid that whole game. And, when I saw him play last year where he was running the ball a lot and getting these quick passes, I thought, if this guy can improve his accuracy down the field, this is a serious threat to all the teams in the AFC.
Did you watch that game? Did their defense look good, or was the Dolphins' offense that bad?
So I watched probably a quarter and a half of the game. The Dolphins didn't really look good in any phase of the game, so it's hard.
It's not a good barometer of anything.
Exactly. It's not a good barometer for anything.
I'll say my other game that surprised me, but also didn't surprise me, was Titans 43, Browns 13.
That is the game I wanted to comment on.
For all the hype and money that went into the Browns offense this offseason, to only put up 13 points against the Titans while they smack you down for 43 was a little surprising.
I think, I honestly think the Browns getting humbled this way was good for their team.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they had gone out there and won big, I don't know if that would have been as good for their team right away.
I think every team needs a humbling point at some point in the season. Even if you're a 16-0 team, you still need to have a point in the season that really makes you kind of double down on your efforts and like that. So I think it's a good reality check for them, first thing off the bat.
They got a spanking.
I'll tell you exactly what it was.
What was it?
That was I forgot to take the chicken out the freezer. Now we're not going to have dinner because of your sorry ass spanking.
I mean, it just was an embarrassment. And the part that I think makes it even worse is they were at home.
Yeah.
They did that shit show in front of their home crowd.
I mean, they are the Browns, so.
In my opinion, they're straight back to brown bagging it. One brown bag over each fan's head.
I saw a good one. If you didn't stand behind us when we lost by 30 before, Don't stand by us when we lose by 30 now.
You know what else I thought was awesome? Delaney Walker, who's the tight end, kind of a stud out
Oh
there.
yeah.
He channels his inner Dennis Green, who was the Cardinals coach that did the Bears are who we thought they were. He says that the Browns are who he thought they were. I heard that gave me a little bit of a chuckle. Props to Delaney Walker.
With that, I think we're gonna, move on.
Can we
We've given our.
can we
Oh, go
talk
ahead.
about one more?
Yeah, we can talk about one more game. Yep.
What about that Steelers versus Patriots? And we don't have to dwell on this.
Oh, everybody, we'll get into more of this later in the gossip section. And if you're a football fan at all, you know why.
I'm just saying, we won't touch on what's coming up in gossip, but I'm just saying that the Steelers looked completely lost. Like the Patriots came out and looked like a well-run machine. They didn't look undefeatable, but they looked like the Steelers organization could never beat them in 100 years.
I mean, the Patriots always come out looking crisp, but I didn't I didn't see the game, but the Steelers were they bad on both sides of the ball?
They were horrible. They could not stop anything.
Do you think it's a thing of like, and this was mentioned about the Packers game a lot because almost all the Packers starters sat the entire preseason, and a lot of people commented that both sides, the Packers and the Bears, looked very rusty, which is a reason why preseason needs to happen because, they all looked a little bit off. They weren't up to speed yet. Do you think that's what it was with the Steelers? That they just didn't have enough like preseason. They weren't up to speed yet.
Honestly, I still feel like they're a little bit dazed. Everyone has kind of now got into a new role. Juju's now the number one, and he's got to figure some things out. They couldn't really run the ball that much because they were playing from behind, so Connor never really got to run the ball that much. It's one of these games where the Steelers have to look inside and see what they're really made out of, because what I saw out there was just complete disorganization and slop on both sides of the ball. I think they have the talent to be a lot better, but the Patriots just looked super solid in every phase of the game.
Yeah, as they usually do. So with that, we went ahead and we picked the outcome of each game for the entire Week 1 schedule. I'm not sure if we're going to do that many games moving forward here, but Jeezy, as of before the Monday night game starting, he is spotless.
No, I got the Bills Jets. We both got the Bills Jets wrong.
Oh,
The Bills did beat up the Jets, and we called the Cardinals to win, but it ended up being a tie.
okay, that's like a half, but either way.
So I've only got 1.5 wrong out of 14 games so far.
And I've got 3.5 wrong because I picked the Browns over Titans and I picked the Giants over Cowboys. So I have catching up to do already.
Well, I don't know. When you did the picks? Did you know Zeke was coming back?
I did not.
Yeah, so that I had the benefit of knowing Zeke was coming in for sure.
Then for Monday night, we both picked the Saints over Texans and Broncos over the Raiders.
I think both of those games should be good.
I think those are pretty much locks.
But I think we both got those right, but I also think those should be good games to watch.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
I think they'll be competitive.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to wrap up what happened this week in terms of games. But also this week, in new news, Zeke got paid.
Fudging right, Dougie.
He got paid.
6 years, 90 milli contract extension. He's going to be around for a while.
That's an extension. So that includes the 2 years that are still left on his rookie contract, which means he's locked in for 8 years and $103 million coming up here.
Super solid. He seemed very pleased with that. He was back. I know they were kind of going light with him because he was holding out, and so he didn't get all of the training camp and all of that. So they were planning on going light with him. They ended up not needing him that much. But I think it's one of those things where, obviously Dak Prescott is the leader in that locker room. But having Zeke there is like, he's got to be there to have that full swag that team could have. they are locking people up. They have found a core that they're happy with, and they are trying to lock every single player up.
Okay, but so then what happens to Dak's contract when he goes this week and throws for like 400 plus yards and 4 touchdowns? He's got to get paid too, and Zeke just took up a ton of money.
He's going to get paid. He's going to get paid a lot.
How are you going to play the other 51 players?
They also are looking to lock up Amari Cooper. I think he's also going to be another big payday. Look, it's Jerry World, baby. He's going to find a way. He's going to break the law if he has to. It's the Wild West down there in Texas.
It is Jerry World. Jerry World has no rules.
They're just going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. But another contract extension here. Jared Goff gets an extension from the Rams that has a guarantee of $110 million to it. That's a record. And it looks like it is a contract that'll have him locked down through the 2024 season, so 5 years, $134 million, including the 2 years he has on his rookie contract, making the whole package worth $161 million. Do you think he's worth that though?
I mean, the thing is, if I were to compare him to Carson Wentz, let's assume that they both stayed 100% healthy. I think Carson Wentz honestly is the better quarterback.
So check this. In just over a year, the Rams have given Jared Goff this contract. They gave Brandon Cooks 5-year, $81 million, with nearly $51 million in guarantees. They gave Todd Gurley 4 years, $45 million guaranteed. They gave Aaron Donald 6 years,
huge.
6 years, $135 with 86 guaranteed. The Rams out here just making it rain.
Look, they want to. I think they've got that same thing that the Cowboys are doing. They found a core that they really like, that they really think provides a foundation that they can build around. And look, if you've got that, if you've got a handful of superstars that you think you can lock in for a number of years, that allows you to focus on getting value players to fill around. Players who are very solid, very good. It also allows you to open up the draft and develop option. I think it's smart. I like that strategy.
But you can't have trash around you either, It has to be. I'm a little concerned about, same thing for the Cowboys and Rams. What are you going to do with the other 50, 51 players? They have to be mid-grade or better,
If you can draft and develop a good team, that's something that some of the best franchises in the league have been consistently doing. The Packers are very good, and the other team that comes to mind, although they looked horrible this week, is the Steelers. They're another draft and develop team. And
yeah.
I mean, you look at those two franchises, and they've got a good number of rings.
Absolutely. Well, with that, I want to go ahead and talk about the Packers game. With the Packers taking the win on Thursday night to open the NFL's 100th season, 10-3 over the Bears, some initial reactions.
My first reaction, and it's not the biggest reaction to the game, but my first reaction is the Bears defense really that good, or was our offense just horrible? Both passing and especially running.
I think the latter. I think we were not good, and that's why I think a lot of people alluded to the fact that it seemed like a preseason game because both offenses seemed really slow, out of sync. Rodgers was missing throws again. Our run game, I was real disappointed because that was supposed to be a really emphasis in the offseason. And, I think we had a total of 47 yards of rushing in that game.
I mean, they came out there, and in the first few drives, they really did try to run it. And it was going nowhere.
What was it? It was negative 12 yards in the first quarter?
It was nothing to hang your hat on. It was plenty to be disappointed with. That, I thought, was the craziest. I was like, where's the Aaron Jones I saw last year? It seemed like they had benched him for a little bit, and Jamal Williams went in there and was at least getting some positive yardage. And, I mean, I'm not sure if that was just a break or what, but it looked really bad there at the beginning.
Yeah, I have it here because we were texting each other during the game. Negative 12 yards, Fewest in a quarter for the Packers since 1994 against the Eagles.
That first quarter was an embarrassment.
It was bad, and like I say, it wasn't just Rodgers. It wasn't just the run game. It was both sides. It was the whole offensive unit looked really bad, and so towards the end of that second quarter, we started throwing the ball more. And I actually texted you this. I wonder if that was LaFleur's play calling changing, or if it was Rodgers kind of, starting to take the reins over and saying like, listen, this is what we're gonna do, and winning the game that way.
I don't know what the relationship is there yet. I think they did switch to some hurry up offense, which obviously gives a lot of leeway to the quarterback, to Aaron. But I'm not sure exactly who was calling the shots as it went along outside of those hurry up sequences.
Right. My other point here that I was so pleased with, the Smiths were a good investment.
So good. Both of them were so good.
At first, when I was watching the game, I was texting you and I said that I was a little concerned that I felt like our defense wasn't getting enough push off the line of scrimmage. But as the game went on, our defense just tightened down, and the Smiths looked like a really good investment. Darnell Savage looked like the real deal.
He really did. He looked so good.
That is a good first-round pick. Although he did change his number back to 26. I'm not sure why.
Is it confirmed or is it what's happening?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's rules where you can't change your number up to a certain point before the season starts because of something. I'm not sure, but he is now wearing 26 again.
I want to go to the cheese line. Dirty Dan sent in this text. I'm going to read the first half. We can touch the second half a little later if we want. Dirty Dan says, "Happy Monday, guys. I want to kick the hornet's nest and at the same time let you brag. Knowing that the Bears are not known for a great offense, and it's not the most difficult feat in the league to stop them, where do you think the Packers' defense will rank by the end of the season overall?"
My hope is I want to say 7th or 8th overall.
Well, that would be super solid. Here's what I'm going to say. Here's my response. I don't know if you saw the post-game interview with Aaron at the end of this game. He said it multiple times. We've got ourselves a defense. This is a top 10 defense, potentially cracking the top 5 in my opinion. This is a team that's going to be stingy, that's going to force turnovers, and is going to have tackles and sacks for a loss. I think I'm going to put them right at 5.
You think so?
I mean, we'll see what next week looks like. I mean, we're playing the Vikings. The Vikings are going to be a much more balanced team than the Bears. I mean, the Vikings have a very solid defense. They should have a pretty solid offense, although they didn't even have to really use it in this weekend's game. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like against them. But I really think we can. Do we have it right now? I think what we saw is not even the best our D can do.
No, not even close. Not at all.
By the end of the season, we might have a team that is just cracking the top 5 in defense. But I think I would be surprised to hear that they're anything greater than top 10. And I think 5 is my guess.
And it's kind of telling to hear Aaron say like we've got a defense because when we won the Super Bowl in 2010, we had we had the best defense in the league that year. That's I think a really telling point. The other point to remember too is that the Bears might not have a great offense, but you got to remember we were playing a divisional game,
right? Against the rivals.
Against the rivals. Prime time, first game of the season, away at Soldier Field.
Right. I mean, we definitely had adversity to face in this game.
So overall, offense was a really lackluster performance. Aaron Rodgers said, I have to play better. I have to play better. Next week against the Vikings, I'm really hoping to see that run game opened up. Oh, I forgot this too. Adrian Amos essentially icing the game on that pick.
Oh, that was so awesome.
Oh, you know what? I'll take it back. He didn't ice the game on that pick because he got the pick. We went full on McCarthy mode with calling plays that next drive, then had to stop the Bears when I believe it was Preston Smith got a sack of Mitch Trubisky on the other end of the field. We got the pick. We called run, incomplete pass, run, punt. I don't know if like LaFleur was watching McCarthy game footage or what, but
I didn't understand that call either. But I've got to say that interception, and he's a former Bear. He snags that and he goes,
exactly,
"I saw that
exactly,
look. I know that look. I went for the ball.
exactly.
Awesome."
Did you hear? Okay, did you know that Tramon Williams is the oldest secondary player in the league this year?
I did. I heard that.
36 years old out of Louisiana Tech. Second thing, Tramon Williams said, "We knew if we could make Mitchell Trubisky play quarterback, we were going to win."
I heard that quote. I love that quote.
Super good.
I mean,
Super good.
this is you got to remember. He does have credentials. He is the Pro Bowl alternate pick.
They keep. I said that. I said that to Miss Van when we were watching too, and they were like, they said a couple times like he made the Pro Bowl last year. I was like, no, the fuck he didn't. He didn't make the Pro Bowl. Some other dudes made the Pro Bowl, and they were like, no, I'm not going to play. And they were like, I guess Mitch Trubisky can play instead.
Yep.
He didn't make the Pro Bowl. He was the last kid left in line.
I was on the couch swearing at the TV for the misdirection that the commentators were providing on that.
Now, I will say my new favorite broadcast team, and they have been for a minute here, is Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. And I texted
Wow.
you this. Oh, dude, so much better than Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Those are the worst. But
I mean,
Chris
Tony
Collinsworth,
Romo though. Come on, his group
he's
on
good.
CBS.
He's good, but Chris Collinsworth gets me every time with his football IQ. That man is so smart at football. He's like Romo. He'll call it every time before the play actually happens.
He's good. He really is. I personally love Chris Collinsworth. I think he's really funny. The best thing about him is he'll say something like, "Well, I was over at Darnell Savage's house for dinner earlier this week. Wife is a lovely cook, and we were gearing up. We had a very nice vegan meal, and we really getting fueled up for the game. And the thing about this guy is that he's a very sharp dresser, and that poise carries on and off the field. And it's like 100%. That story is completely fabricated, but he'll tell a story like that, and it'll be 100% the truth. He was at somebody's house hanging out."
I saw another meme too that was like zero point 0.2 seconds in the broadcast. Chris Collinsworth saying, "Now here's a guy," because he says that shit all the time, and you do too, Jeezy. You say that a lot. "Now here's a guy who," and then carries on.
I'm just
You're
emulating.
channeling your inner Chris Collinsworth.
That's what it is.
Did you see they were wearing 1920s garb to commemorate the 100th season? They had the old like hats and like three-piece suits and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I did notice. I was wondering why they were dressed strangely, but I didn't know that was to commemorate.
That's what it was.
Now I know. One last thing here. Last part of Dirty Dan's question here. Also, thanks for Randall Cobb, Green Bay. He might be my favorite receiver in Dallas now. Love how he fights for yards after the catch. So
Randall Cobb had 4 receptions on 5 targets, 69 yards, and 1 touchdown.
that is a solid debut in a new offense.
Yes, it is. Good for him. I need to loop back real quick here because we had another text on the Cheeze line.
Wait a minute. Are we done with Packers? We didn't even do the cheese in my way to you.
Oh, well, we forgot, I guess. Sorry, you can do it. We can do Cheese in our way away from you now.
Because now I'm cheesing my way from you, Van. Because you broke my fucking heart. We're done with the Packers section, everybody. Welcome to the gossip section, everybody.
So I'm going to go back to the Cheese line real quick here. Ram Jam sent us a message. He says, "What up, Van and Jeezy? So many good storylines from week 1, but I wanted to make sure you guys heard about one I just read about. As you know, I'm a big-time Vernon Davis fan, and I just watched a video of him hurdling defenders and scoring on a 48-yard touchdown catch yesterday. What I didn't know is this was the one day after his grandfather, who helped raise him, passed away. What a way to honor him." Did you see that? Did you see that touchdown?
It's really crazy.
Oh
Vernon
my
Davis,
God.
who is a big, giant man, hurdles a guy who's basically standing upright. And weirdly, the Eagles guy who's trying to wrap him up, by the way he's trying to do a wrap-up tackle, holds him up while he's landing. And then Vernon Davis, with his feet back under him, pushes the guy off like a rag doll, and then proceeds with all the Greek god fortitude, just pushes his way into the end zone.
That was an amazing catch and run.
It really was. It super was. Ram Jam, thanks for pointing it out. I went back and rewatched it, and it was even more awesome on the replay. And I cannot say how impressive it was. I cannot stress how impressive it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the other thing, I don't have the exact quote here, but I'm going to paraphrase. Vernon Davis went out there and he talked about how much of an influence his grandfather was in his life. You know, it's tremendous to see some of these guys out here remembering their family, remembering everything that it took for them to have their opportunities, and I found that to be very heartwarming and very touching.
Absolutely. Speaking of heartwarming and touching stories, Aaron Rodgers actually made another wonderful donation, sending 375 helmets to high schools that were affected by forest fires. He's giving them the brand new VCIS 01 helmets, top rated model by the NFL, for 3 years straight. They're at $950 each.
What the fuck? A G?
Yeah, and that's why I guess they normally wouldn't be in the budget because they're so expensive. Like that makes me think about like when I played in high school, and even then like Pee Wee, those shits were not 900. Those shits were like $9.50
from Kmart. They came from the basement.
They came from like, hey, these fell off a truck,
and the truck ran over them, and the helmet's kind of cracked.
But don't worry, it's still got the interchangeable ear pads.
So we'll give you a good deal.
But just don't forget, we only have like 1 million of one size ear pad and not enough of the other one, so we're going to mix and match too.
I mean, in those days, you were given just like a tin bucket and a washcloth to put inside of it for padding.
It was not good when we were kids.
It was garbo.
So yeah, thanks a lot, Aaron Rodgers, once again for being a football ambassador, helping keep kids safe and being charitable. Another quick one I tossed in here. In the spanking that the Browns received, OBJ was spotted during the game wearing a watch reportedly worth $350K.
What is it? A big face Rolly?
A Richard Mille watch. I just didn't know that you were allowed to do that, to wear that on the field.
It says Beckham wore an orange RM1103 automatic flyback chronograph McLaren that cost him $189,500.
And later in the article, it says priced at $350K. So I don't know which is which, but the article also says, unfortunately for Beckham, his watch didn't help the Browns to victory, while Beckham finished the game with 7 catches for 71 yards.
This says that only 500 of that model were ever made. The company said that Beckham is, quote, not a brand partner, and it is his decision to wear his watch on the field. And apparently, one other quote, since the brand began, Mr. Mille only forms partnerships with athletes who commit to wearing a Richard Mille watch while they perform their sport.
I just didn't know that was allowed.
I'm just saying, I think OBJ might be fishing for sponsorship here.
Is he already plotting himself like a plan B for when the Browns tank this year?
I mean, I can't say for sure, but he's also quoted as saying that the watch was indestructible. I mean, he's doing a lot of advocacy for a brand that's not paying him.
I still want to know if anybody knows or cares to do research. Let us know if you can find out like what you're actually allowed to wear. Does that fall under the James Jones rule? Hoodie rule? Probably not, but you know. So, last one before we get into the big one. No, the Dolphins, obviously we know that they are a dumpster fire this year already.
Looking bad.
Their 2019 calendar they put out, the team calendar that has, pictures of one player per month on it. Of the 16 players who were featured in the calendar, a total of 7 of them are no longer with the team.
How does that happen? When were these pictures taken? When was this calendar released?
It was released in September 2018.
Okay.
I would think you'd want to pick like the most like secure ones, right? That you know aren't going to go anywhere. But the players that weren't there, Cameron Wake left as a free agent. Jordan Phillips got cut in October of 2018.
This is
Andre
crazy.
Andre Branch was released in March 2019. TJ McDonald released in August 2019. Kiko Alonso traded to the Saints last week. Ryan Tannehill traded to Tennessee in March. And Kenny Stills traded to Houston last week.
It's crazy. Where did all their talent go? Long time passing.
So, okay, with that, the attendance at the Dolphins game, if you saw, it's okay. So the Dolphins are clearly a dumpster fire, and if you look at it, at the article I posted in here, the attendance at their game this weekend, their 59 to like what 10 or whatever SmackDown was grim attendance.
I had a I had a friend who went, a Ravens fan who went, had a good old time watching them get the ass whooping.
If you look at this, there's no one in that stadium.
And you know what that means? The Patriots get 2 free wins this year.
It says there's a picture here that says empty seats remain at Hard Rock Stadium a few minutes before kickoff. And it's maybe like 25% full. And then the picture below that says halftime is over and yet still some seats available. And it's like 10% full.
Look, man, I went to a preseason game, Packers Ravens, and that place was pizzacked, especially the lower bowl. I just don't understand how it could be only 10% full on opening day at home.
Because fair weather fans, and you know, okay, I noticed this too, and it was something I meant to mention during the Packers section. The Bears fans were booing their own team. I noticed a couple other games this weekend where the home team or, fans were booing their own team. Like, what is that? There's also a picture here of two Dolphins fans donning their Cleveland Brown bags. The grocery bag with eye holes cut out, placed over your head in shame.
Yes, I'm aware.
And after all this, right, getting your asses whooped, no one on the calendar, hashtag tank for Tua, all that. Apparently, after this game, getting blown out, a handful of players had their agents approach the Miami front office requesting trades or to be released.
Yikes.
I just don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't understand it because I guess the players are saying that the coaches aren't trying to win, but I don't know. I don't know. There's so many people that are chomping at the bit to even get a chance in the NFL. How can you be so selfish just to give up on it?
But I'm going to quote from this this article from profootballtalk.nbcsports.com written by Mike Florio. Coach Brian Flores consistently has denied an intention to tank, but the first rule of Tank Club is never talk about Tank Club.
Yeah. Yep. Basically. And that almost ties into our last glaring gossip section article here, or topic here. We could really just rename the gossip section the Antonio Brown section.
This shit's going to change, I think.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Okay, so it started out that Antonio Brown was getting fined for all of his mayhem and tomfoolery we talked about last time, right?
Right.
The team was going to fine him. He posts on Twitter or Instagram or something, I think it was Twitter, a picture of the memo saying, hey, you're being fined, and being like, hey, Raiders, this is bullshit or whatever. Then the Raiders plan to suspend him. Seems reasonable.
Which also saves them a bunch of money if he doesn't play that first game. The guarantees contractually are not any longer required, or at least they have more time to decide if they're going to do it.
And then I found another article that I put in our agenda, which I titled as LOL JK, he's going to play. Because John Gruden came out and said, no, he's going to play. Okay.
Womp womp.
Unsuspended, maybe?
Maybe never suspended? Who even knows?
Then an article on brobible.com asks if this whole helmet situation was a marketing ploy to begin with.
That is a bit of a stretch. I like some other conspiracies about Antonio Brown, but not the helmet conspiracy.
That one was a little far-fetched for me too. But then he gets fined even further and eventually cut from the team because he got in a physical altercation where he had to be held back with Mike Maycock, the owner of the Raiders.
Oh, I did hear about that.
Your boss, like John Gruden's your boss. This is your boss's boss. And apparently, AB fired a racial slur at Maycock during the altercation as well. And you know that guy that played for the Bengals that laid that smackdown hit on AB back in the day that really,
That brutal
Von,
hit.
Vontae is perfect?
Yeah.
He had to hold him back from actually physically going at Maycock.
Wow. What a strange turn of events there.
All this happens. AB gets cut, posts a video on.
That got Van all in his emotions.
He posted a video on, I think it was Facebook, maybe it was Twitter,
All over, everywhere. Posted all over.
of him saying, like, listen, John Gruden, I gave it everything. I'm sick of everybody treating me this way. I gave it everything. And John Gruden says, listen, man, would you please stop this shit and just play football? And AB saying, I'm a person. I'm not just a player, blah, blah, blah. Next day, guess what happens, Jeezy?
I don't have to guess, I know.
Fucking Bill Belichick comes out of fucking nowhere and says, I'll sign him, you piece of shit. So, and this is a conspiracy thing. I mean, I don't think it's even
Tinfoil hats, everybody. Get your Reynolds wrap.
Dude, I don't think it even is.
Reynolds wrap alert. Reynolds wrap alert.
Antonio Brown reached out to social media experts to ask them how to, like, essentially act a fool and accelerate his release from the Raiders.
Well, I don't think he ever wanted to be in Oakland. I really don't. I'm not sure where he wanted to end up. I mean, apparently maybe the Patriots.
He wanted the Patriots wanted him to start. Antonio Brown bullshits his way out of Oakland. Oakland takes the hit for everything, right? The Steelers still have their draft picks that they got from the Raiders. The Raiders are on the hook for all that money and shit. And the Patriots come in and say, 1 year, $15 million. Thanks. They got him for fucking free. For free.
But here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing in my opinion. I've been waiting for you to put all that trash out into the air. But here's the crazy thing. AB goes to the Patriots, and can you say with certainty he's WR1?
Him, Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman.
And the Dorsett kid looked really good this week. I think Dorsett had 2 touchdowns. That kid was playing like he knew AB was coming. I mean, he did. And he didn't want to be off the field. I mean, I'm just saying, is he the true number 1 out there?
Dude, honestly,
that is a crowded wide receiver core.
Tom Brady comes out and says, dude, you can sleep on my couch until you find a place to live, all this stuff. You know what? This is actually perfect. Send him to the Patriots. Because you know what that means?
What?
The Patriots are going to implode. This is perfect. This is perfect.
You think that's going to happen?
You are taking cancer from the Steelers locker room, placing it in the Raiders locker room. You're taking it from the Raiders locker room, placing it in the Patriots locker room.
You think it's going to be the same problem? I don't think the Patriots. I mean, I could be wrong here, but I do not think the Patriots are going to take the same level of shit for as long as either of those other teams did. And for good reason. They do not need him to the same level that those other 2 teams did.
But then, like, why? Then why?
You take Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman, Dorsett, and you're like, yeah, that's a super solid wide receiving core. You had Antonio Brown. There may not be a better receiving core in the league.
The Patriots, look how much the Raiders lost by having AB in the room.
I mean, it totally misplaced all the focus for the offseason and for this first week of football.
I'm just saying.
But we've yet to see that first game.
I mean, I won't deny he's a good receiver. He is one of the best in the league. Do I think that the Patriots colluded to have Antonio Brown? Do you think the Patriots colluded and had some interference on the Raiders to have Antonio Brown ultimately end up with them? Yes, I do.
Reynolds rap alert. Reynolds rap alert.
I'm just saying, I ultimately think that there were some workings in there are some things working behind the scenes that, and like with a purpose to one place in particular.
If I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat for 1 minute, it was knowledge to AB that the Patriots were interested in him before he went to the Raiders. That's the only thing I'm going to say there. I don't want to fuel that plot or storyline, but he did know they wanted him before he left Pittsburgh for Oakland.
It's the first time in recent memory with like the NFL where like I was looking at all these storylines going on and I was like, I'm a little bit like exhausted trying to keep up with all this fucking drama right now. Yeah.
It was an
Yeah.
exciting week of football, though.
It was good. And as much as like we talked shit earlier about the Packers offense being rusty, I was still on the edge of my seat the entire game. You could tell Miss Van was like, okay, Van, maybe calm down a little bit. You're going to wake up the neighbors.
Yeah, sometimes it bees like that.
Okay, so with all that wrapped up in the gossip section, our last section is no longer going to be interesting take section, but we're going to go ahead and change it up to kind of announcing our picks for the upcoming week.
I'm going to call this section the PrimeTime Picks section. That's because we'll be looking at the primetime games for the week and picking our picks. We'll be looking at Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, the team from Titletown, Green Bay Packers. We'll throw in one or two other games for a little seasoning.
Ooh.
So this week, on Thursday night, we have the Buccaneers and Panthers playing. Van, who you picking here?
Panthers.
Panthers all the way. I think that is a lock. Although, Bruce Arians is one of the all-time most winning coaches. So we'll see if that team can start building up a little bit.
Sunday night?
Sunday night, we are looking at the Eagles-Falcons.
I'll take the you know what? I'll take the Falcons on this one.
Are you shitting me? They just got crushed by the Minnesota Vikings that literally had a robot handing the ball off the whole game. I'm taking the Eagles, obviously. But let's go to Monday night before I start typing things up. Monday night, we've got the Browns versus the Jets, which I think is an interesting team. Both pick up major all-stars in the offseason. The Jets obviously picking up Le'Veon Bell. And the Browns obviously picking up OBJ. I'm going to go with the Browns. I think the Browns are going to sneak out a win here and show that they could be the dominant, beat the Jets at home.
I agree. Browns as well.
At the Jets' home, I mean.
Browns. We got the Vikings at Packers. Obviously, I'm taking Packers.
I'm going to take the Packers as well. I think that defense is going to show up yet again, make that robot see if he can throw.
We also are going to do our best to try and be completely objective here with our Packers picks because it'd be easy enough for us to pick the Packers every week, but I'm going to make an honest choice every week and not make my picks with my green and gold glasses.
I want to pick the game for you to choose, and you pick the game for me to pick a winner. I've got the game that I think is maybe perhaps the game of the week. Saints versus Rams. A rematch of the NFC Championship game. Who you got?
It's in LA instead of New Orleans this time. I think I got to take the Saints because based on how the Rams snuck one out over the Panthers, who I think the Panthers are not even close to as good of a team as the Saints. And I expect the Saints to take care of the Texans tonight. So I'm going to say Saints.
Okay, I like that. Blind pick, blind faith in the Saints. Who do you want me to who should I choose?
Here's one because it's not necessarily our forte.
Go ahead.
I want you to pick the outcome of the 49ers at Bengals.
So I'm going to go with the 49ers, and I just want to give you a stat. Jimmy G is healthy. Jimmy G wins games when he starts. He had a 7-0 record as a starter into last season. I just believe in that team when Jimmy's on the field. When he's not on the field, completely different team. And I think that's true of most teams when their starter's not out there, their starting quarterback's not out there. They're a completely different team. But with Jimmy G on the field, the man the man wins. He carries that team with him. And with that, you've been listening to Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy.
I'm Van.
And I am Jeezy.
Be sure to check us out on Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitter, Spotify, Google Play Music, Apple Podcasts, cheesypodcast.com,
iHeartRadio.
Yep. All those places. If I didn't mention Spotify as well. Call and text the Cheeze line, 980-2-CHEEZY with a Z. That's 980-224-3399. You could be like Dirty Dan and Ram Jam and have your questions answered.
Right on the show.
You can call, you can text. If you call us, we'll take time out of our day. We'll answer. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it back on the show. You'll be famous. Famous.
You're going to love it.
I guarantee it.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.